Hello, hello. My name is Kim Addis. I am the president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching, and you have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast, where we invite guests, leaders from all over the world to come onto the podcast and get coached live and in person. Today, I have someone very special on with me. She's a visibility expert, and her name is Amelia Roberts, and she runs a company called Solutions by Amelia. Amelia, welcome.
Hey there, how are you? I'm excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. Tell me a little bit about you. Where are you from? What does a visibility expert even do? Fill us in.
Sure. So I'm based in the Washington, D.C. area, Silver Springs to be exact. And after feeling very invisible in a job role and then being forced to articulate my special value in that role, that pushed me on a journey of learning lots of career shift and learning how to um, connect with people and speak before audiences. And that landed different opportunities. And people started to ask me, how did you end up being a speaker at this conference in Las Vegas? How'd you end up on that podcast? How'd you end up, doing this webinar presentation with this name? And so I started teaching people about how I was showing up and learned to show up and articulate my message and all that sort of thing. So that's part of the visibility expertise. But there's other things that I have questions about that aren't related to that, when I heard the opportunity to be coached by you on air, I said, you know what? I'm open for that. I know that coaches need coaches. So I'm so happy that this worked out.
Well, I'm happy to, and we're going to dig in 1 minute, but just so I understand, you teach people how to obtain speaking engagements, how to get on podcasts, how to really increase the term is platform. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and the last few client projects, the people who've been raising their hand for that have been people who have teams. So it's actually been looking like teaching teams how to source opportunities, strategic partnerships. Some of these collaborations haven't necessarily been look like podcasts. It looked like finding micro influencers to share their thing with an audience of affiliates and whatnot. So the visibility showing up collaboration lane is what I've been operating in.
Okay,
Yes.
very interesting. And the reason why I'm like dwelling here, because I think a lot of people in our audience are interested in the work that you do. And so I want to make sure that they know who you are and how to reach you. How can they reach you for help, for more information?
Sure. So my email is Amelia, Amelia at solutionsbyamelia.com. And if someone just wants to get a taste of my thoughts on things, I have a podcast called the Confident Collaborations Podcast. Over on LinkedIn, I do professional water cooler chats with the purpose of normalizing talking to strangers and highlighting interesting people that have come on my radar. I do these professional water cooler chats over on LinkedIn, and I'm there as Amelia J. Roberts.
Amazing. I'm going to go look for you. Okay, so tell us, what is your greatest challenge today?
Yes, so it is the knowing versus doing gap. It's like I don't know if I need a coach or need to be on someone's couch. So I'm just open to hearing things. So when it comes to doing what I tell other people to do, it's easier to tell other people what to do. And so I know that I need to do a better job of following up with people. I know, I guess my struggle is in my follow up. I have resistance to that. And I've been very like, I would reach out to somebody and, sometimes it leads to something, sometimes it doesn't. And I've been, just kind of going with the flow, but I know that I could be more targeted. I know I could be more, I don't even want to use the word strategic, but because following up, I don't think that's being strategic. It's just following up. But yes, a simple thing that I know would make a difference. And I'm apparently experiencing resistance around it. So I'm open to hearing your thoughts and,
Okay, I'm going to
maybe,
ask you two
yeah,
questions. Okay.
okay,
So when you say resistance, what does that mean?
not doing the thing
Just
that I know
not
that I need
doing
to
the
do.
thing. And if I say, well, why aren't you doing the thing? How might you answer that?
So on my calendar, I have, listed, it's not it's haphazard, right? I have like listed, follow up with her. And then I'll see that come up on my calendar as something I need to do. And then I just go by it and do something else. Um, I don't necessarily, I don't, click on it to see, who this is her or maybe that's my first problem. Maybe I need to be more specific about why I need to follow up with that person, a benefit, worded, thing in it. I don't know, but I'll see it come up on my calendar and I'll opt not to do it. Or, I'll have.
So go a little deeper. So why are you opting not to do it? Why aren't you opening that link and figuring out who this person even is? And I get it. You talk to people all the time. You even forget their names, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I get it. So why do you think, take a guess, why do you think you're just skipping over it?
So as much as the truth of the matter is that while I had to get visible for myself out of necessity, by nature, like how do I recover and deal with the world is I'm an introvert. So if I have like a day of networking and being out there and being visible, I know that I also have to bake in space for myself and for quiet time. And sometimes those follow up with her notifications, maybe they're at a point where I'm wanting to be in my recovery mode. And so maybe that's why I'm not, saying,
Okay.
oh, yes, I absolutely need to reach out to this person.
Okay. Let me ask you one other question. Do you
Mhm.
literally follow up with her, or do you put the name of the person?
Follow up with her. No, I'm thinking about a specific instance.
Okay. So
So
it's a person's name.
yes. Well, no,
Follow
no.
up with.
I put it showed up in my calendar as follow up with her. I'm thinking about this specific instance that's a reflection of stuff that's happened before, but this specific instance, yes, it was as vague as that.
Oh,
Follow
wow.
up with
Okay.
her.
Okay, that's very interesting.
So
So
that
I'm
could
gonna
probably be
now.
my first thing.
Okay, so
Okay, of
I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I want to step
course.
back for a minute. I'm going
Mhm.
to ask you, who are your clients exactly? Like, are they entrepreneurs? Who are these people?
So they have been people who have been leading their lead revenue generation roles, either in their business or career. And they're in a circumstance where they need to get in front of more people for various reasons. And they don't have the capacity or an energy or desire to do it themselves, of course. And the people on their team don't necessarily have that skill set. They may have tried to sit that person down in front of a video to learn how to do it. And, those results may have varied, but long story short, they want, their team to be trained on how to source opportunities, collaborations, and develop the leads list and develop the outreach messaging, and then send the outreach messaging. Or um, my last few engagements has looked like retainers where I've supported the team. If the team has questions along the way that says, hey, Amelia, can you take a look at this pitch? Or we sent this and we didn't get a response. What do you think? They've been interfacing with me instead of my super busy, client. So um, I don't have like
So are
one
you saying that they
specific,
might have resistance too, and that's why they hire you?
not resistance, but they just don't have the capacity.
So is
Like,
capacity the same as resistance?
that's a good question. Um, I don't, I mean, so like the most recent one that I'm thinking about was a Fortune 200 company. They were launching a new product, and for various reasons, they didn't want to spend money on Facebook ads. They didn't want to wait for SEO to work. So they knew that micro influencers, getting in front of people who already have access to their best buyers, that was a thing. And there wasn't capacity in-house to implement a micro influencer campaign in under 3 weeks. And so they were working with an agency. That agency says that's not in our wheelhouse either, but we know this Amelia lady and she can come in and support us.
Right. Okay. So
And oh, I was about to mention someone else that was a little different.
before you mention someone else, so when you came in to support them, did you connect them with the influencers?
Mhm.
Did you follow up to make sure
Yeah,
it
so that was
happened properly?
yeah, so that was a larger project and my support was equal to that. It was more robust.
Right.
But yeah, it looked like yeah, sourcing, developing the leads list, developing the messaging, reaching out. Some people of those influencers, they want to have a phone conversation with somebody to hear more about this thing.
But
And
but you didn't have
yeah,
a problem following up on all the details to make sure they were done properly, right?
no, I did not have
Okay.
a problem with
So
that, Kim.
so so you don't have a following up problem, right? Like a
Mhm.
lot of times people say, well, I have this problem with this thing that I need to do. And I want to say to them, you know what? Many times people want to like change the system so that they're doing things that they need to do. Change the system. And I always encourage my clients not to change the system yet. Yes, sometimes system changes are a great idea. But before we change the system, let's look at your thinking that's causing you to feel the resistance that you're talking about. And if what you're really talking about is I need a little recovery time, what you're talking about also is your own capacity, right? So when you say my clients don't have capacity, and that's why they call me, guess what? You also have capacity. And what it sounds like is you're not factoring that in. So if you know there are all these things I need to do, but I'm not getting them done because I don't have capacity, what does that mean? I need to figure out how to increase my capacity. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do all the work, but it might mean that you need some assistance, some support in getting that stuff done in the follow-up. Does that mean you have to pick up a phone and call? Not necessarily. Maybe there's an EA that you can hire on board that says you're going to do all the follow-ups. And when there's truly interest, then I'll get on a phone call. Right? So what I'm really saying is that, oftentimes we beat ourselves up because we're not doing the things we know we need to do. And I'm always interested in what really stops people from doing the things they need to do. And there are a million reasons, but it usually has to do with their thinking and their beliefs. And for you, perhaps your thinking is, it's a lot of effort, I'm tired, and it's probably not going to yield the results I'm looking for. In the back of your mind, the equation doesn't add up. Does that make any sense to you?
It makes a ton of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we also know that while the follow-up might not yield the outcome we're looking for, we still need to follow up in case it does, right? Because we know that if we don't follow up, it for sure won't lead to the results we're looking for. And so we still need to do the follow-up. The question is, do you need to do the follow-up? Is there another mechanism in place? And so for you, the thinking change isn't, I need to force myself to do the follow-up. And yes, probably putting the name of the person in the reminder is a good idea, right? Probably. But it sounds like the thinking change that needs to happen is, A, do I really need to follow up? Number two, do I need to follow up? Number three, can someone else follow up for me? And what does that follow up look like? Does it have to be a phone call? Can there be another way to follow up? But really the thing is, whenever we experience resistance, it's usually fueled by a set of beliefs that are getting in our way. And so for you, it's important to explore what beliefs are happening, am I feeling inside of me that are preventing me from taking the action that I would recommend for someone else. I realize I have a capacity limitation. I need to factor that in. It's kind of the same thing as saying, hey, Kim, why aren't you doing the accounting in your business? Well, I have a capacity limitation. That's not my area of expertise. I could do it if I really wanted to, but it's not the best use of my time, talent, or resources. And so I have someone else doing my accounting for me, right? So it's not about pushing you to do the thing. It's about pushing you to think about what's really stopping you from doing the thing. And so if
Oh,
it's a
mhm.
capacity issue, we need help. If it's hey, the likelihood of this turning into something is low, then maybe we'll look at why are we following up anyways? And how do we have that initial conversation to see whether it's a yes or no up front and then stop following up so often. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. I never thought about it like that. I mean, even the words to say, to call my not doing something didn't even have the words. It's like, is it a capacity limitation? And, thinking about, digging deeper with that. I haven't ever considered that.
Well, and I think for leaders, it's very, very important. And I think you're conscious of the leaders you work with. When you say it's not in their wheelhouse, you have to ask yourself, what's in my wheelhouse? What's the best use of my time, energy, and effort? Is it this action. If it's not this action, I need to outsource it somehow. And right now in the world, there happens to be we have access to a lot of EAs in the world who are more than willing to step in at a rather affordable rate.
Yeah, and again, it's so easy for me to tell other people, just get support, and I have not thought of asking for support with this particular aspect, even though I know it absolutely is a thing. I mean, there's all sorts of, and I can even rattle off the types of support. I mean, now that you're saying this, I mean, I know that there are people who, do even the lead generation. I know people who do nurturing. I know people who, you can outsource sales, of course. And, hey, can you just even remind me slash, when this reminder comes up, this is the response, or can you just go ahead and nudge this person? That absolutely can be a thing, that someone
Right.
can just hit send on a message that I have. And it's like, but did I ever think about asking? That's an interesting concept.
Interesting concept.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and you asked in the beginning of this conversation is, I'm a coach, should I have a coach? And my answer is every coach absolutely needs a coach. Like there's no two ways about it, right? It's kind of like if you're a dentist, you still need to go to a dentist, right? Like you
Yes, I
take care of
said,
your
yeah,
teeth.
coaches need coaches, is what I always say.
Absolutely.
Coaches need coaches. Yes.
Coaches need coaches to help them think things through and to help them make sure that they are aligned with their goals. And so for you, you're out there, you're helping the world, but in order for you to really be effective, you also need that support underneath you to help you think things through. And I would recommend that to all leaders and all coaches. All coaches, all leaders need a coach so that they can think things through effectively, make the right decisions, and make sure that their decisions are aligned with their purpose, with their goals, with their desired outcomes.
Oh, agreed. Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Anything else, Amelia, for today?
No, this has been lovely. I mean, that was the aha that
Great.
had that I was hoping I'd get. And that was different than what I was expecting.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you expecting?
So whenever, I shouldn't say whenever, I don't like using those terms, but yeah, so hey, I'm struggling with follow-up. Okay, well, maybe you need, accountability, maybe you need a different CRM, maybe you need, I was expecting to hear some version of that, but I really like the angle and the approach that you took it, and to say, hey, well, how about you look at it from all of these other things that I never thought about. I'm somebody who's, I've been acquainted with online business at least since, 2007. I was introduced to it. So I've heard a few things about the challenges that I faced that haven't worked. So when you introduced a new idea to me, that's was like, hey, that's pretty cool. So
So I'm thrilled that you said that because I just kind of want to step back and reiterate something. And I think it's very, very important. And for those of you who are listening, like if you have a pencil and a paper, take note on this. Whenever you're struggling with anything, our tendency is to say, okay, like this isn't working. I got to do something different. And our first instinct is to try to figure out a new kind of plan of action. And I always want to say, stop, no more action. Take a break from all your action and step back and say, what is the thinking that's causing me to feel stuck or challenged? And how does my thinking need to shift in order to break through this barrier? So, first, we need to change our thinking, and then our action will follow. If we try to take action from old thinking, we get the same old results. And this is very, very important. And so, action follows thought. And very often we don't take a moment to step back and align our thinking before taking action. And that's truly, truly the one biggest mistake that people make when they are trying to achieve their goals. They just forge ahead and they do because they're motivated and they're driven. And I say, great, you're motivated and you're driven. Slow down for a moment so you could truly speed up.
I
That's
love
what I
that.
got for today. That's what I have for today.
It's beautiful,
Amelia,
Kim.
thank you so much for being my guest on this podcast. I really appreciate your challenge. I don't think you're alone in the world where you are the person giving other people advice, but sometimes we need our own help to follow that advice. So thank you so much. For those of you who are listening, if you have a challenge that you want to share on the podcast, please reach out to me. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. If at the same time you have a challenge, but perhaps you don't want to share it on a podcast, please reach out to me as well. My email address again is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. Amelia, thank you. Love that conversation.
Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you for your wisdom.